Okay, today we're going to replace compressor oil, the compressor fluid in a C230k compressor. This is with the Eaton compressor, M62 I do believe, is the designation on the compressor. And in order to do that, you need to remove the air box. And someone else was asking me about the air box on the compressor. You can change the air filter without removing the air box, but in order to remove the air box, this is how you remove the air box. So basically you're going to take off two screws, one down here on the band clamp, one down here, one up here, and I'll just set the camera down and do that real quick. If I can get in there. Oh, I can take off the top one too, it doesn't really matter. Come on. Stay in there. So top hose, the hose that goes to the intercooler is this one here. Pull that one off. There we go. Electrical connector here. Some ham-fisted mechanic had just pulled this out before, so we had to zip tie it on there to hold the electrical connector in place. We're gonna have to zip tie that back on. But the electrical connector is right there with the two wires. Push the little clip, there's a little clip on the side, push it in, pull it out. But again, this one was broken by someone who had no clue what they were doing before. Actually, it's on there pretty good, on that band clamp. Okay, I'll get that off once I pull it up. Hold on a second. Coolant hose from on top of the air box, and then lift straight up. There's 3 feet that push down into little rubber plugs. Oh, sorry. Front air intake beside the headlight. Pull out from the front, up from the top, and then pull the whole box straight up. Kind of wiggle it. And the 3 feet will pop out. Then there's the PVC or PCV breather right here under this hose. So you got to clean that out a bit because there's a bit of oil in there. Pop that, and then the electrical connector, which just fell off on me. And this air box pops, comes straight up and out. And as always, good time to clean in here. May or may not be some oil. Ah, dirty. Okay, so let me grab. So if you can look straight down here where my finger's pointing, there's a bolt. I'm just wiping it off. I'm gonna have to I'll get a light and put it on that in a minute when we actually take it off. It's a 13 millimeter bolt, and that basically is just the lubrication for the nose cone bearing in the Supercharger. I went to the Mercedes dealer the other day to get the Supercharger fluid. It's special synthetic oil for the Supercharger. 118 milliliters, which is the size of half a can of Coke. Like not even, it's a third of a can of Coke, 118 milliliters. It's tiny. It's this little bottle size. I just knocked off the cap. $100 plus tax. General Motors used the exact same superchargers in some of their cars. AC Delco Supercharger oil, it is synthetic, the exact same stuff. $9.99 a bottle, 118 milliliters, the exact same fill capacity. So if you're looking for this oil and can't get it, General Motors has it. So I'm gonna get a wrench or a socket so we can pull that off, and I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so with the green dot on it, that's the fill screw for the Supercharger. It's a 13 mil. I'm just going to put a different light on this. And hopefully you can see enough. And I can see enough to get that off with you looking, with you watching. Or maybe not. Or my flashlight will fall right in front of your face. It's middle of the day, but it's overcast, so there's not a heck of a lot of light. That bolt just loosened. It did loosen, not enough to turn my hand. It's not on there very tight. Don't crank it on when you put it back on. It's just like a 10-pound. Holy Christ, I can smell it from here. This stuff, how do I describe it? It smells like goat balls, gorilla ass, and Limburger cheese all in one. Like, it freaking stinks when it's used. New, it smells just like oil, but used, God almighty. I'll do the sniff test. Oh, Lord suffering, fuck. Hold on, I'm gonna make Connor smell this. Connor!
What?
Smell this. Tell me what you think. Smell that.
Oh.
How bad is that? What does it smell like? Gorilla ass?
Don't really know.
It's pretty
bad though.
It's bad. Okay. Let me set this camera. It's really bad. Set this camera up. And I'm going to be extracting with an oil extractor. There is a drain bolt actually on the bottom. It's an Allen headed bolt, but the few times I've done this, I've always just vacuum extracted from the top. You can stick a rubber hose down in here. Oh, can't even see me, can you? Freaking camera. Back in a sec, I gotta set this thing up. Okay, so what I'm using is a vacuum extractor. Same thing for vacuuming out your engine oil. And it's just got a tubes of different sizes. This is the little tiny one that will fit down into the supercharger nose. And then you just essentially pump it and it provides suction. I'm gonna stick this down into the hole there. There's not a lot of fluid. You can see as I pump it, you'll see it coming out. Let me get on the hose. Where's the hose? There it is. Oh, that stinks. I mean, I'm 10 feet, 8, 9 feet away from it, and that's just nasty. So you can hear it sucking up. And if you don't have one of these, if you've got like a piece of rubber hose you can stick in there, suck on it, and let it drain into something else, you're gonna, well, it's gonna taste bad, but just don't drink it. And it's just the oil bubbling up through, sucking in. So I'm gonna suck that out and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got all the fluid extracted and I've just taken a piece of rubber tubing. I'll pull this back again. And attach it to the top of the bottle. This is a little leftover from the other bottle. You're not gonna be able to get all of it out by vacuuming it out. By all means, if you wanna go underneath and find that little access bolt and get it out through there, go for it. But it's a lot harder to get to than this one. This is a 5-minute job. Sucking out through the top. I'm just gonna stick the little hose in and fill till it spills over the top. Like I said, I've got a little bit left over from the bottle I was using the other day for another friend's car. So I'm just gonna use up this bottle first. And the new stuff does not stink. It doesn't have that gorilla ass smell, so it's all good. probably extracting this way, we're probably only get about 80 to 90% of the old fluid out of there, which honestly doesn't really make much of a difference because most people are never going to change this fluid anyway. Replacing 80 to 90% of the old fluid with new fluid is 10 times better than never doing it at all. I'm just going to grab the front of the Supercharger clutch and move it. Pump it around there. You can see it kind of flowing a little bit when I do that. So that oil level is right up at the top. Put a tiny, see if I can get a tiny bit more in. Any extra will run out through the bolt hole, so you don't have to worry about measuring any levels. It will just overflow through the hole, and whatever drips out is excess. I'm just going to clean the bolt and put it back in, reinstall the air box, and Bob is your uncle, all done. Stinky, stinky, stinky stuff. Don't do it outdoors, or indoors. Well, I'll do it indoors, what the hell. Be a man. I bet if you pour some in your garden, it'll keep raccoons and stuff away. Again, we're just going to snug this bolt up kind of like a spark plug. We're not going to crank it tight. But 10, 12 foot-pounds of torque. And that is it. I'm going to clean up in here and be done. Thanks for watching.